Folks, good morning and welcome to Steelers Morning Rush. Today is Thursday, August 15th. Thanks for joining me. I'm Alan Saunders. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a joint practice with the Buffalo Bills today at Acrisure Stadium. I'll be over there a little bit later. But this morning I'm going to talk about a guy who's not on the Pittsburgh Steelers that a lot of people have been asking about, and that is wide receiver JuJu Smith-Schuster, released by the New England Patriots not too long ago, and questions about whether the Steelers should or maybe will bring JuJu back. My colleague Derek Bell actually did a really nice breakdown of what JuJu brings to the table from an X's and O's perspective in an article for SN Plus subscribers over at SteelersNow.com. And I really want to encourage you all, if you are not already, subscribe to SN Plus right now until Saturday. It is an annual subscription for just $10. It's usually $40. You're not going to get a deal that good again. So go check that out, please. But I want to give a little bit of a different perspective here that's not just about the X's and O's. I will talk about that briefly. But I want to talk about JuJu the person and the locker room fit as well, because I feel like that is the thing that a lot of people bring up when it comes to JuJu and not just his play. Let's start with on the field. JuJu's knees are not in good shape from everything I've heard from people in New England, and that he really just does not necessarily have the same kind of speed and burst and athleticism that he used to have when he was a younger player in Pittsburgh. That's a problem, and if he's not healthy enough to be a contributor, then there's no reason to bring him in. So it would not surprise me at all if the Steelers do bring him in for a medical evaluation and a workout like they do with other free agents, just to get a sense of where he is right now, get their own doctor's eyes on him, that kind of thing. That would not surprise me at all. And then maybe whether they decide to make a move going forward will depend on the results of that, one, and also what's going on with Brandon Ayuk, because they're not going to make a move with JuJu before they're certain that they're not going to make a move with San Francisco. On the field, JuJu's a great blocker, and I don't think the Steelers have one of those at the wide receiver position right now. He's also a big-bodied guy who plays in the slot. It's also something they don't have right now. I think obviously George Pickens, Calvin Austin, Van Jefferson, and Roman Wilson are going to make this team. And I think the next best wide receiver they have has been Scotty Miller, but I think Scotty Miller's skill set is pretty duplicative, like compared to Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin. They're all like smaller guys, good route, shifty route runner types. They all do a lot of the same thing. And so JuJu would be a bigger bodied receiver. He would be the biggest receiver on the team. He'd be a guy that can make some combat catches besides George, which I don't really think they have right now. And again, the blocking, we talked about, this is a offense that wants to run the ball a lot. This is an offense that runs a lot of two tight end stuff. You can almost use JuJu as a second tight end and replace Pat. Like, honestly, if they signed JuJu and Pat Freiermuth got hurt, JuJu would be the closest thing to a Pat Freiermuth replacement on this roster. So I think that's the player part of it, what you're getting on the field. And again, depending on how healthy the knee is, how much of that you're really getting, I don't know. But I think a lot of people's emotional reaction to JuJu is based on sort of off the field stuff, which I'm not really sure tracks. I think JuJu was a very young kid when he came to Pittsburgh first. He has a lot of enthusiasm for a lot of things, for not just the game of football, but for video games and honestly just for social media. He is a player that enjoys being on and participating in social media, which not everyone does. But lots of other players do. There's lots of players that are very active on social media, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I don't think that anyone in the Steelers organization was ever particularly concerned with the way that JuJu went about his business, what he was doing in his non-football time. And I know they were not concerned about what he was doing in his football time. They really liked him. They wanted to keep him when he left as a free agent. They just did not have the salary cap space at that time to make it happen. So, I don't think you should have any concerns about JuJu Smith-Schuster, the person. And certainly he's gone on to win a Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's played in one of the best offenses in football and gained that experience. He worked with a young quarterback in Mac Jones last year. Like, he's got plenty of reasons to want him as a person, and I think way more reasons to want him as a person than maybe to not want him as a person. I think he'd be a good fit for working with George Pickens. I really do. I think George could learn a lot from him. You're talking about a guy who has kind of mastered the how to say and do how to say things in a way that's going to make people have a reaction to him and be popular on social media. JuJu has millions and millions of followers. I understand that some of you do not appreciate his seeking out attention, but I don't think it was ever for a negative for him or for the team when he was in Pittsburgh. And I think George can be a little bit insular. I think that could be a good fit for him. So I think it will mostly come down to whether his knees are healthy. I don't think you should have any concerns about JuJu the person coming back into the Steelers locker room and being a part of this team again. And I think he's a good X's and O's fit, again, if his knee is healthy. So we'll see. I do expect that they probably will bring him in at least to take a look, but we'll see what happens. And again, like I said, none of that is going to happen until they've made a decision, or the 49ers made a decision, or Brandon Ayuk has made a decision, or aliens abduct Brandon Ayuk, and we can stop talking about that. One of those has to happen first before anything would happen with the Steelers and JuJu. That's it for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube channel if that's where you're watching, so you don't miss any of our content. I'll have a live Steelers practice report with Chris Ward after the Steelers-Bills joint practice at Acrisure Stadium today, and then another Steelers afternoon drive with myself and Zachary Smith, maybe a little bit just after our normal time. We're talking to Andy Weidel today. We're talking to Mike Tomlin today after practice, so we should have a jam-packed day full of content at SteelersNow.com as well. Make sure you go there and check it out. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.